Assalam alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my brothers and sisters. If you have stumbled upon this video, know that it is not by chance. You are not here out of curiosity, but because Allah wants your heart to hear something essential today. So stay until the end, because I have promised you a special prayer that could transform your vision, your expectation, and even your destiny. Listen carefully. There are days that dawn silently, without warning, without any announcement. But these are the days God has often chosen to mark the greatest transformations in the lives of His servants. And today, July 3rd, is not simply a date on a calendar. For some chosen ones, it is a divine break, an invisible threshold, a transition that the soul feels but the eyes do not yet see. It is a silent appointment that your heart has perceived, but that your reason is still trying to understand. You felt exhaustion these past few days, haven't you? An inexplicable heaviness, a feeling of being at the end of a cycle, yet without knowing what comes next. You can no longer move forward as before, and yet you refuse to back down. There's an inner tension, a confused expectation, an invisible struggle. None of this is a mistake. It's a sign that you're on the eve of a personal exodus. An exodus where God Himself is gently pulling you out of a season where you survived, to take you into a season where you will finally live. But to reach this promised land, you must first recognize that the desert you crossed was not a punishment. It was training. You had to tear yourself away from certain illusions, detach yourself from certain people, purify yourself from certain dependencies. You thought you were losing, but in reality, Allah was purifying you. Every silence, every closure, every betrayal, every failure. It was an invisible hand gently tearing you away from what still tied you to the Egypt of your past. And now, you are almost ready. This July 3rd marks the exit. But you still have to believe it. Have you noticed that lately things have been accelerating around you without explanation? Doors are abruptly closing. Relationships are breaking up for no reason. Truths are emerging. These are not misfortunes. They are acts of mercy. Allah is removing the veils. He's simplifying your path. He's waiting for only one thing: for you to finally surrender, completely, without resistance. This is not an ordinary day you are living today. It is the day you can decide never to turn back. This message is for those whose soul were prepared in secret, for those who suffered in silence, for those who waited without understanding. Allah has never forgotten you. He just waited until you were ready. And today, He says to you, rise, walk, leave everything that held you back. What you feel is not fear. It is the call of change. It is not fatigue. It is the last contraction before birth. And this July 3rd, it is your sacred threshold. So stay until the end. I'm going to reveal to you what this personal exodus really means, how Allah secretly prepares His chosen ones, and why today marks a turning point you must not miss. And at the end of this video, I'll offer a prayer for you, a sincere, deep prayer, so that your heart reconnects with the direction Allah has specifically traced for you. There is a season in life when everything seems silent, when even supplication seems suspended in the air, as if they cannot reach the ceiling. When you look up at the sky without response, and your heart begins to wonder if Allah has truly heard you. It is in this season that many give up. It is in this silence that some consider backing down, denying what they have begun to build with their Lord. But what you may not yet know is that this silence is not abandonment. It is incubation. It is in silence that God prepares the most profound births. And if you are going through this today, It is because you are about to change spiritual form. Look around you. Many talk, many run, many seek to show off. But you have been set apart, removed without your understanding, removed from certain circles, detached from certain habits. This is not rejection. It is a divine selection. Those whom Allah truly elevates, He hides first. He makes them cross the invisible. He makes them cry in secret. He makes them die internally so that they may be reborn with a light that no one can snatch from them. And you may have lived this season without even knowing that you were in training. You may have felt useless. You may have believed you were of no use. You may have thought your prayers were weak, your nights weren't long enough, your fasting wasn't perfect. But you don't know that sometimes it's the silent tears of a broken heart that rise higher than the most eloquent words. You don't know that your endurance in forgetfulness is a proof of love that many will never understand. You weren't punished. You were put in spiritual quarantine. A quarantine where the soul is purified, where intentions are clarified, where faith is strengthened in the invisible. You had nothing left to cling to except Allah. And that was precisely the goal. Because before leading a chosen one into their exodus, Allah removes everything that could make them doubt. He removes the crutches. He removes the human supports. He closes the easy ways out, so that, when He finally parts the sea before you, you will know that no one but Him could have done this. He wants you to see Him clearly, without intermediaries. You think you haven't built anything in recent months. You think you've stagnated. But in the invisible world, your soul has grown. It has learned to submit without explanation. It has learned to hope without proof. It has learned to remain faithful without results. And this is what few people understand. Faithfulness in a vacuum is more precious than worship in abundance. Your silent loyalty was seen. Your trembling heart was heard. You weren't just surviving, you were growing closer. Step by step, without realizing it, you were becoming closer to Allah than ever before. Today, you come to the end of this season, and Allah begins to move things around you. You feel it. There is a new wind. There is a strange restlessness. Subtle signs. Impressions that something is changing. It is Him. He's gently preparing you to come out. But before that, He wants you to understand. You have not wasted your time. You have been shaped. You have not been forgotten. You have been prepared. You have not been punished. You have been chosen. And now that your heart is strong enough, He will take you places you never imagined going. There comes a time when the soul begins to sense that something is approaching. Without knowing how, you perceive a form of movement, like a change in the spiritual atmosphere. You continue with your routine, but something is no longer the same. The emptiness you felt is no longer the same. It is no longer heavy. It becomes mysterious. And that's when the first signs appear. Not in the form of spectacular miracles, but in small jolts in your daily life. Things that disturb you, that break, that stop. Feelings that suddenly emerge. These are signs, discreet but powerful, that Allah is beginning to gently call you towards your personal exodus. You wake up with a different kind of fatigue. Not a physical fatigue, but a weariness of living in what no longer elevates you. What suited you yesterday becomes unbearable today. Empty discussions bore you. Superficial acquaintances oppress you. Your soul wants something else. It demands the truth of you, the authentic you. You feel the need to withdraw, to be alone, to cry for no reason. These are signs. Allah is tearing your heart away from distractions. He is preparing your soul to leave a cycle, to turn a page. There are also those strange, intense, sometimes disturbing dreams you've been having for the past few days. You wake up with the feeling that Allah has spoken to you in your sleep, even if you don't remember the exact words. Sometimes you see the sea, sometimes a bridge. Sometimes you walk toward a light, but you don't know what lies beyond. These dreams are not in vain. They are messages. Coded messages sent by the one who knows how to speak to your soul when your mind is too tired to hear. He speaks to you in the invisible, so that you won't be surprised when he calls you to rise. You also notice sudden separations. People are drifting apart. Relationships you thought were stable are breaking up. You feel abandoned, betrayed at times. But don't cry. These aren't losses. They're cleansings. Allah is removing those who can't accompany you in the next season of your life. He knows who might slow you down, who might extinguish your light. He cuts invisible ties to lighten your load. And this detachment is painful, yes, but it's a deliverance in disguise. Accept what's gone. For what goes frees you to receive what's coming. Your heart becomes hypersensitive. You cry more often, you feel everything more strongly. This isn't weakness, it's awakening. Allah is peeling back the layers that hardened you. He wants you to hear clearly. He wants your heart to be pure to receive what He is going to place. So He makes it vulnerable. He makes it permeable to faith, to light, to guidance. And that's why you feel naked. You are being prepared. Like a land that is plowed before sowing. The surface had to be broken for the seed to take root. You also notice strange coincidences. You often hear the same verses. You come across reminders that seem written just for you. You hear your own experiences in the stories of others. This is Allah speaking to you. He places markers on your path so that you don't lose courage. He wants you to know that you are not crazy, that you are not imagining things, that what you feel is real. He's preparing your departure. And as with Moses before the Exodus, He places signs in the desert so that you follow the right direction. All these signs are not there to scare you, but to wake you up. For Allah knows that you have been faithful in the darkness. And now, He's showing you the first rays of a profound change. He wants you to be attentive. He wants you to be ready. For the Exodus isn't done halfway. You cannot move forward with bound feet. You must stand up, unburden yourself, trust. And all you see today is His hand gently inviting you to take the first step. Remember how history repeats itself, not in its details, but in its essence. Moses did not leave Egypt on a whim or by chance. He left at the exact moment Allah had decreed, after the signs, after the trials, after the dark night. The people believed they were still prisoners, and yet the sea was about to part. The day seemed no different, and yet it was the day of the miracle. Your July 3rd may be that moment. It won't feel like an explosion. It may not be loud, but in the invisible, something will break. Something will be set free. A sea you didn't see will open before you. The believer is often tempted to trivialize what his heart feels. But pure intuition is an echo of the spiritual world. If you feel that this day is special, do not doubt. It is not a passing emotion. It is a gentle warning from Allah saying to you, stay attentive. This day is not like the others. This, July 3rd, Allah may not change the world around you immediately, but He may very well change the world. In you, and that is even more powerful. It can remove fear. It can sever the connection with a painful past. It can bring a peace you have never tasted. And if that happens, know that it is already an exodus. The prophets didn't always know that a change would occur on a specific day. But their souls were ready. The environment was becoming agitated. The signs were becoming more frequent. And suddenly, the order fell. Get up. Go. Today, this order may not come in the form of revelation, but it comes to you in the form of certainty, a firm intuition, a desire to leave, to break away, to break free from this cycle that no longer makes sense. This desire you feel to live differently, to no longer repeat the same pain, to no longer pretend. It is Allah who is whispering to you that you are leaving. And that's not all. There's also this strange peace mixed with apprehension. You don't know what awaits you, but you feel like it's no longer behind you. You don't yet know what you're going to experience, but you know there's no turning back. This spiritual tension is a sign that your heart is aligning with God's will. And when your heart aligns, Allah begins to move things. Coincidences appear. Opportunities emerge. Revelations flow through you. You're not imagining. You're preparing. And July 3rd isn't the end. It's the beginning of a journey. Never underestimate what God can do in a single day. How many prophets have seen their destiny change in a single moment? How many anonymous servants have been suddenly elevated by a simple word, a simple prayer? What you feel is not an illusion. It is an awakening. Allah speaks to you quietly, but with precision. And if you stay connected, if you stay open, you will see doors open that you thought were closed forever. This July 3rd, open yourself. Open your heart, open your intention, open your soul to the possibility that this is Allah's chosen moment to move you from one state to another. From narrowness to expansion. From fear to faith, from expectation to fulfillment. You don't need to understand right away. You just need to trust. For this day is not a point in time. It is a key. And Allah has placed it in your hands. When the Exodus approaches, it is not immediate peace that presents itself to you, but often the final storm. As if evil, sensing your near deliverance, were launching its final attacks. Just before the sea opens, there is this panic, this dizziness, this inner turmoil that makes you doubt. You feel that you are close, but nothing seems to have changed yet. You believe that the crossing is about to begin, but the obstacles stand before you with more violence than ever. Do not be surprised. Do not panic. This is exactly how Allah works. He allows the darkness to close in one last time, not to frighten you, but so that you may recognize the light with even greater force. You will notice that the attacks become more targeted. People who were close to you begin to hurt you for no reason. Things that were stable in your life become unstable. Thoughts you thought were gone resurface. You feel a strange emptiness, a chilling uncertainty, as if you no longer know anything. It is a test of faith, a test of inner stability. Allah is watching. Will you back down now that you are so close? Will you give in to fear when deliverance is right there, within patience's reach? This is often where many turn around. They begin to look back, to regret, to tell themselves that their old life was more comfortable, simpler, more reassuring. Like the children of Israel, some even miss their Egypt, forgetting the chains, the beatings, the fatigue, simply because the unknown frightens them more than the familiar suffering. But you, do not look back. Do not betray the divine call for an illusion of security. If Allah has taken you away from something, it is not to bring you back to it. If He has closed the door, it is not so that you will knock on it again. If He has allowed certain things to collapse, it is because He is preparing a new foundation that you cannot yet see. This tension you feel, this conflict between fear and faith, is proof that you are growing. For no one walks across a sea without trembling. But those who move forward, despite fear, despite doubt, despite fatigue, are those whom God chooses to elevate. You don't need to be sure of yourself. You just need to be sure of Allah. And if you walk, even while trembling, you will see that the sea itself parts. Not suddenly, not noisily, but at the exact rhythm of your confidence. Don't be surprised if, at this point, those around you don't understand. They don't see what you're experiencing inside. They don't know that you're in the midst of liberation. Some will think you're drifting away. Others will say you're changing. And they'll be right. You are changing, but not to escape. You're changing to be reborn. You weren't called to repeat the same mistakes. You were called to break a cycle. And that cycle can only be broken with one last effort, one last inner struggle, one last act of faith. Don't stop now. You've already cried too much to turn back. You've already resisted too much to give up in the end. What you're going through is the contraction before birth, the trembling before the opening. It's always like this. Before delivery, the pain intensifies. Before the light, the night grows darker. But it's in this night that the miracle descends. Allah didn't bring you this far to let you down. He's not the one who abandons you halfway. He's the one who carries you when you can no longer go forward alone. So stay firm. Don't doubt what you heard in moments of light just because you're going through a passing fog. This July 3rd, you are called to come out. But to come out, you have to let go. Let go of what's holding you back. Let go of what frightens you. Let go of what weighs you down. You don't need to understand everything. You just need a heart that says, I trust in my Lord. And in that moment you will see. Not just with your eyes, but with your soul. For the Exodus doesn't begin outside. It begins within. And within you today, Allah is already tracing a path. You've come this far. It's not by chance, it's not out of simple curiosity. If your heart is still there, attentive, vibrant, it's because this message was meant for you. Allah doesn't gather words, emotions, and silences for nothing. He guided you here, not to impress you, but to awaken you. You know now that this July 3rd is a passage. You know that you are not experiencing a simple day, but a profound liberation. You feel that everything you went through had meaning. You understand that the desert you endured was a preparation, a necessary crushing to give birth to a new strength within you. And you feel this strength now. It doesn't shout, it doesn't show itself, but it's there, in your calm, in your certainty, in your calming breath. There is nothing nobler than a heart that surrenders to Allah unconditionally, even when it can't yet see the way out. And today, this heart is yours. You no longer need to understand everything. You just need to accept that you were chosen. You weren't forgotten. You were shaped. And this shaping was not in vain. It prepared you to carry, to heal, to transmit. So now, breathe. Let this day be the beginning of another rhythm. Let this hour be the one when you say to Allah, here I am. It's not the past that defines your worth. It's your openness to what God wants to do through you. And believe me, what He's preparing is greater than anything you could ever imagine.